You want to know something crazy that has a chance of happening for the first time ever? At the pace both leagues are currently at, the WNBA will have just as much, if not more, star power than the NBA when LeBron, Curry, and KD retire. Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, Sabrina Ionescu, Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Brittany Griner, Breanna Stewart. People know these names. And for the WNBA, that's a big deal. This is a league that has been nothing but the butt of jokes since the day it was even conceived.
God, this place officially sucks worse than the WNBA.
And that's why she commands $7,000 a year. These gals sure do make it look difficult.
Say LeBron James changed his gender. Does he have to go to the WNBA where he will score 840 points a game?
It's been waiting for its genuine success and star power for decades. Patiently sitting through the times of losing a poll of if a person would rather have their local WNBA team win a championship or find $5 on the street. Really, it all circles back to the arrival of the first name I said. Caitlin Clark's talent has been so riveting and so marketable that it's inspired millions upon millions of people, girls and boys, to play and watch more basketball. It's a lot like what Michael Jordan did in his very early NBA days. Her success has given the league more of a draw. Her rivalry with fellow rookie Angel Reese was one of the most organic and compelling narratives the league has ever had, and one of the biggest in the entire sport of basketball today. Fast Company named the WNBA the #1 most innovative company in all of sports. Team valuations are soaring. Expansion fees to join the league as a new team are soaring. Viewership, attendance, and merchandise sales all set new records. They have a monumental TV deal now. Everything seems to be going right. Except the league still just experienced a net loss of $40 million with all this going on too. It truly does not make sense. They have genuine excitement, momentum, and brand building all skyrocketing. And yet they're losing more money than before. The NBA has usually provided major funding for the league, recognizing that above all else, a women's league has to exist no matter what. In 2018, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said that the WNBA's business is a net loss of about $10 million per year. Now, at the league's unquestioned highest point of success and cultural relevance, they're losing 4 times that amount? NBA team owners are getting very impatient here with this. They want a return on the money they put into the WNBA, and they want it right now. That's really why we're here today. I am not, and never will be, a person who roots for the WNBA to fail, like most frat bros and angry boomers do. What I want to break down is how it's even remotely possible that the WNBA could still be a failing business even as it starts to challenge the NBA for cultural relevance and star power. There's plenty of room to grow here, for sure, but you have to applaud the strides the league has made in its last few years. Problem number 1 is, though, they're not quite reaping the benefits of that growth yet. The WNBA signed an 11-year TV deal worth $2.2 billion in August of this past year. Their per-year valuation of being on TV is set to increase by $140 million annually. That extra money they clear per season should theoretically dig them out of a $40 million hole in losses, right? Well, that deal doesn't start until 2026, meaning they just have to gut it out and wait for that money until the agreement officially goes into effect. Caitlin Clark was a one-woman show, bringing unprecedented attention to the league on her back. But her team was the definition of mid, and didn't advance through the first round of the playoffs. She's allowed to not win championships yet. She was just a rookie on a team that was terrible before she showed up, but it's certainly a missed opportunity to capitalize on having her play more games, more meaningful playoff games at that. As time goes on, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever being in these games compounds their momentum even more. But the bigger story of Caitlin Clark all season was how many of her opponents tried to delegitimize her success and take blatant physical shots at her to hinder her play, which is extremely counterintuitive. Caitlin Clark is a meal ticket for the entire WNBA. You need her to play more, not less. Sure, you're just trying to compete, but come on, have some feel for what having Caitlin push closer to the throne means for everyone involved. It's good to have a villain, especially if your villain is a draw. It's also fascinating that the villain seems to be the hero everywhere other than the rest of the league, but still, her career still being in its infancy means not all the financial benefits have been earned just yet. If anything, it makes it more impressive that she made such a tangible impact on day one. Also, we'll get this out of the way once and for all, it's not just Caitlin Clark. It's a combination of her and all of the other stars. Sabrina Ionescu got to go head-to-head with Steph Curry in a three-point contest for a reason. We are living through a time never before seen for how many distinct, marketable, great stars there are in the WNBA right now. And more are on the way. But that's also greater cause for financial confusion to the WNBA's situation. More specifically, it's increased losses in spite of its growth rather than finally turning a profit. It's never ever turned a profit, by the way. A very complicated web of bizarre financial equity is to blame for some of this. Look, economic inequality is arguably the core issue of our time. The Riddler didn't blow up the Gotham City seawall and flood the entire city without trying to make a point about something. But how the WNBA constantly battles with the disparity of the haves versus the have-nots only makes their situation even weirder. Due to the lack of money that was coming in from the league's revenue, WNBA players didn't have many luxuries most professional athletes do. They do not really get an off-season, because their WNBA salaries do not pay the bills.
Basketball star Angel Reese says her WNBA salary does not cover her rent.
If you're like the 7th or 8th best WNBA player on your team, your salary is not gonna float you year-round. You have to go play in insert European country just to make ends meet. Even their biggest stars make less money than like your cousin Tom who works a desk job at ADP. Many WNBA players have to continue to grind and push their bodies year-round playing in overseas leagues simply to feed themselves. So it may not surprise you to learn that for much of the league's entire history, they did not have charter flights to travel between games. That's right, you, flying coach on your vacation to Phoenix, Arizona, might have been sitting next to an entire WNBA team on your 7 a.m. flight. For decades, the league just accepted it as an expense they simply could not afford. New York Liberty owner Joe Tsai, who also owns the NBA's Brooklyn Nets, didn't care. He personally paid out of pocket to arrange charter, private flights for his team that is one of the most affluent in the WNBA, sparing them from having to deal with this guy on a flight after a 20-point loss somewhere. How did the WNBA respond to Tsai doing right by his team? Fining him $500,000, that's how.
What the hell is going on up there?
It was literally against WNBA rules for a team's owner to provide them a charter plane, because it seems they're allergic to doing right by their players on benefits. Getting extra money for the players is apparently a huge no-no. The WNBA sunk their teeth into an investigation for a sponsorship of the Vegas team that would have given all their players $100,000 each, because it supposedly would have provided some kind of unfair advantage in getting more players. Because yeah, let's punish teams for having good incentives to have players come there. As if they couldn't self-own themselves anymore for having taken care of your players' travel as easily as possible, becoming a rules violation. They soon established a league-wide charter flight program within 2 years. Is that one of the huge catastrophic expenses this league now has to keep losing money on an annual basis? Maybe. We'll never know, and the public will probably never get made privy to their actual itemized expenses. This more so just sheds a light on the enigma that is their behind-the-scenes business, which again, doesn't really make much sense. The charter flight thing is the only thing public that I could find that kind of explains an extra expense for why they're losing 4 times more now than ever before, or at least 4 times more than they usually were. Something doesn't add up here. Literally. This more so just sheds a light on the enigma of their behind-the-scenes business. You know what else also achieves that? finding out that the WNBA is paying their players a peanut share of the league revenue. WNBA players get paid less of a cut of what the league makes than NBA players ever have. When their players correctly bring this up as a sham, the narrative quickly gets twisted into that WNBA players are asking to get paid as much as the NBA players do, asking for money from the league that they simply do not have. Again, there are plenty of NBA players' contracts worth more than entire WNBA teams. What they are asking for is for the league to stop hoarding the lion's share of the money for themselves, especially at a time when the growth of the league and its revenue are on the backs of the players.
We are not asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue.
The WNBA's collective bargaining agreement will expire. WNBA players surely will fight for better pay. But it's not the better pay you're thinking of. It's better equity in the money that's coming in. And why I bring this up is that it's not player expenses that seem to be driving up the losses. They're not losing more money because the players are costing them more. The average American probably knows more WNBA players than they do WNBA teams. And yet the teams take home a much bigger pot than the industry tends to expect them to, creating another wealth disparity between not just the men's and women's players, but between WNBA players and their employers, penny pinching on the benefits of the growth these players have had a massive hand in creating. There's one other piece of the financial inequity puzzle to mention as well. You know how the NBA owners provide funding to the WNBA? Enough of it that they're now complaining that it's dead money? Well, the owner of the WNBA's Atlanta Dream, supposedly the least valuable team in the league, claims his team has not received any money at all from the NBA. The Connecticut Sun, who are owned by the Mohegan tribe of Native Americans, by the way, have had players say they need to sleep at the airport to catch a morning flight for game travel because their location is so out of the way from the nearest airport. The team, meanwhile, brags about their ability to get players concert tickets.
What's the world coming to?
The Phoenix Mercury, meanwhile, have a new $100 million practice facility. The Los Angeles Sparks, who you figure would be one of the more affluent franchises in the league given their market, do not even have a practice facility. Sure, you're going to have discrepancies in the resources top versus bottom teams have in every sports league, but think of it like this. You have a car that's suddenly become very cool and very trendy to have, and you want to preserve it. There are some holes in the door, and there's an oil leak, and the driver's seat is a folding chair, and Lalo Salamanca just jumped on it. You've been given money to help fix the car and make that happen, so you put the money into getting new gold rims. That's my read on what's going on here. If it's true that the Atlanta Dream weren't given any of the NBA investment money into the WNBA, and you can infer that smaller market teams like the Connecticut Sun don't have resources to make their players' lives easier while the bigger teams are eating like never before, shouldn't the money be going towards the teams who are in miserable situations? You need to be creating more sustainable brands, more competitive teams, and more universal benefits in the league. If there are teams who aren't getting any access to the new money coming in to support the league and keep the business of it afloat, then what is going on here? I want to know how the most innovative company in sports also has a team that is only just now graduating out of having their home teams at the on-campus arena for the UT Arlington Mavericks. Again, I am not a WNBA hater. I think their product on the court has a real chance to be consistently successful and change not only women's sports, but sports in general. We may be witnessing the birth of the golden age for a league, and possibly the start of something really special talent-wise. It is just completely perplexing to go into the weeds of what's going on behind the curtain for this league. Hopefully, the momentum pushes forward into not only having league profitability, but more teams having strong organizations that can become pillars of their community. Get good teams with marketable players in the right cities, and you can and probably will achieve this. Strong enough pillars of their communities worth way more to the average citizen than $5.